I don't know if this is in the rules. I don't really care. But I think we've already discussed we are going to trade coaches.
When Caitlin Clark achieved the unimaginable, the cameras were still rolling, the lights in the arena were still blazing, and the audience was still buzzing. In a moment that rocked the WNBA world, the teenage sensation did more than just criticize. She called for coach Cheryl Reeve to be fired, and she did it live on television. No scripts, no filtering, no turning back. What began as a post-game interview swiftly turned into one of the most shocking incidents in recent league history, sending social media into overdrive, reporters reeling, and fans split. Caitlin made sure the world heard every word of her real, unfiltered feeling, which went beyond simple fury following a difficult loss. Within minutes, videos of her statement went viral on X, TikTok, and Instagram, garnering millions of views before the evening was finished. Critics criticized her for going too far, while supporters praised her for being courageous enough to express her truth. There have been many contentious interactions in the WNBA, but this seemed to be a watershed moment. Why would a budding celebrity take such a big public risk? What transpired between Clark and Reeve behind the scenes that caused things to escalate to this point? Was there a single terrible game involved? Or has there been a buildup of tension for weeks, perhaps months? Insiders are leaking, players are muttering, and the league's senior executives are apparently rushing to contain the damage. This is a conflict over leadership, respect, and the franchise's future course, not just a personality matchup. Buckle up, because we're going to go into exactly what occurred, how it happened, and what it means for Cheryl Reeve, Caitlin Clark, and the WNBA in general. Stay tuned and watch till the end, because this story is about to get even messier. Clark versus Reeve. A brewing storm. The WNBA All-Star Draft was intended to be a light-hearted, enjoyable event that featured friendly rivalries, jokes, and smiles. However, Caitlin Clark did not appear to be amiable. She entered the room exuding the same confidence, unrepentant attitude, and complete self-awareness that she brought to the court. She wasn't only picking players this evening, the regulations were being revised by her. Tension had been boiling for months. Since Clark's debut season, Minnesota Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve had been vocally critical of her. During games, she wore symbolic messaging that fans interpreted as subtle barbs, minimized her accomplishments, and even implied that she was overhyped by the media. The most notorious of all? Reeve coached Team USA, the same squad that Caitlin Clark was left off of for the Olympics, a decision that many perceived as political retaliation. To put it mildly, their relationship was icy, worst, outright antagonistic. When it came time for the All-Star Draft, fate made a move. Cheryl Reeve would coach Caitlin Clark's squad when she was captain. It was similar to putting your worst critic in charge of your special day or mixing oil and water together. Anticipation permeated the air, and everyone in the room sensed it. Fans anticipated that Clark would discuss player moves or lineup adjustments when it was her turn to speak. "We're trading coaches," she said instead, dropping a verbal grenade. She quickly replaced Reeve with Sandy Brondello, the coach of the New York Liberty, in front of millions of viewers on ESPN. No personal calls, no courteous side conversation, simply a public, straightforward break. There was more to it than a simple coaching change. There was a message. Clark's choice was the quintessential "I don't need you" moment and a masterclass in public power maneuvers. It turned the All-Star script from a celebration into one of the most talked-about vengeance moments in WNBA history, and it embarrassed her loudest critic. Social media took off. Fans couldn't agree on whether it was pure pettiness or savage genius, but they all agreed that it was unforgettable. Clark demonstrated that she is not only the league's face in terms of skill but also control. She made her shot when she called it, the moment that broke the internet. Oh my goodness, that alone was worth the admission fee. As if she were a replacement teacher incapable of managing the class, we just saw a four-time championship coach, a woman who has been in the league for longer than some of these rookies have been alive. Fired. The shame experienced by others? Through their screens, people at home were flinching. However, this was more than just a heated conversation. No, This was the last act of a drama that had been building steadily throughout the season. A clash of time periods. The new starlet is being put in her place by the old guard, and completely being destroyed in the process. Courtside was not where this tension began. It began with incisive words. When asked about Caitlin Clark during an interview, Cheryl Reeve essentially responded, "I don't give two swords about her." She was dismissed coldly, without saying anything like, "She's talented," or "She's the future of the game." And it's an odd hill to die on for a league trying to expand its viewership. The problem is that this feud isn't merely arbitrary. This has to do with control, politics, and power. The idea that young players need to earn their respect has been embodied by Reeve. Clark, too? She's been earning everything up high. Rookie records, sold-out arenas, national headlines, except Reeve's approval. The snub at the Olympics? Indeed, that was Reeve's creation. The formal justification? Building a roster. The unspoken reality? Petty, veteran politics. Reeve has been hurling small, passive-aggressive bombs all year long. She's talented, but, Zrenia, the WNBA is not like the others. Logically, let's observe her reaction to the physicality. What did Clark say? Nod, smile, and continue altering the record books as if she had personal grievances against each league stat sheet. The year's rookie? With 66 out of 67 votes, she not only won, but dominated the race. 19.2 points and 8.4 assists on average per game. With 337 dimes, he broke the single-season assist record. 122 three-pointers were made, 6 fewer than the previous record. Caitlin Clark is more than a mere athlete. She's a frugal person. Arenas that once reverberated on a Tuesday night like deserted movie theaters? It's standing room only now. Fans are purchasing sports tickets solely to witness her. The WNBA received a walking, talking stimulus package in addition to a star. Clark, therefore, had a decision to make on draft night. Be kind and let Reeve take charge, or make the most audacious move of her fledgling career. She chose bold. She went with chaos. She decided to change the story. Basketball Twitter blew up the moment Clark revealed the coach trade. Memes, reaction videos. Reeve's every blink is being slowed down by armchair body language gurus. It was a moment, not merely a news item. Caitlin Clark then conveyed to all of the players, coaches, and supporters that this is more than just the WNBA's next phase. She is now in her league, brick by brick, comment by comment. This was not an impromptu argument. For months, possibly since day one, the hostility between Caitlin Clark and Cheryl Reeve has been simmering beneath the surface. Reeve was already puckering her lips and honing her criticisms, as other coaches were congratulating the rookie phenom and expressing their excitement. Welcome to the league. Friendliness was absent. Rather, she started setting the stage for what would turn out to be a cold war that lasted for a season. The rivalry might nearly be plotted as a timeline. A carefully chosen word dropped just loud enough for the media to hear. A side-eye here, a news conference there. A brick was added to this imposing wall of stress with each passing moment. Additionally, Reeve was building the work gradually rather than rushing it, so you could feel the weight of it in the air by the time the All-Star break arrived. There should have been a celebration when Clark joined the WNBA. In a single season, she attracted more attention to the league than some teams had experienced in years. Sales of tickets increased. Products are sold out. TV ratings skyrocketed. However, rather than accepting this as a victory for all, Reeve adopted the opposite stance, crossing her arms and forcing Clark to earn it. Reeve's message was unambiguous. She wouldn't be won over by talent alone. Regardless of how remarkable her collegiate career had been, she wasn't about to give a beginner the red carpet treatment. That might make sense in a league where veterans frequently set the tone, but Clark wasn't your typical rookie. Before she had even participated in a professional game, she was altering the record books. At first, the jabs were subtly concealed in those quotes that are good for the media and seem courteous until you look past them. Statements such as, "She'll learn that the pro game is a different animal," were more intended to sow doubt than to provide advice. Interpretation, "She isn't yet prepared," It was an old-school power move. Establish the hierarchy early and remind the young star who's in charge. The irony? Clark had history with her when she joined the WNBA, not just excitement. She had shattered the illustrious NCAA scoring record held by Pete Maravich, an accomplishment so significant that it cut across gender, conference, and time. She was already among the most successful athletes to join the league, but none of that seemed to matter to Reeve. For months, Clark remained silent and let her speak for him. However, every deceptive statement and every passive-aggressive remark was kept in reserve like gasoline. Clark had all the ammunition she required by the time the All-Star break came around, and she wasn't going to waste it. The coach trade was the resolution to a season of subdued tension, not just a tactical change. Coach Cheryl Reeve's remark that players were two different animals was perhaps intended to set the tone and possibly even create a sense of mystique. However, in retrospect, that comment didn't hold up over time. Like milk left on a sunny porch, it became older. Caitlin Clark has been reshaping the WNBA in addition to playing in it. Clark has been using the court as her personal innovation lab, controlling the game according to her own rules and making it appear smooth, while the league tries to adhere to outdated playbooks and proven ideologies. This wasn't a haphazard, maybe next time choice. Clark's exclusion from the Olympic roster was a well-thought-out decision that made a big impression. Here was a rookie who revitalized faltering teams, increased attendance, and dominated highlight reels during one of the greatest debut seasons in WNBA history. "No, we're good," the Olympic Committee continued to say. Under the pretext of team chemistry and veteran presence, Cheryl Reeve, who's on the Olympic staff, appeared to be very happy with the choice. It was more about politics, ego, and who gets to steer the conversation than it was about basketball readiness. When you look at the statistics, the rationale for veteran presence falls apart. In addition to hanging out with the best players in the league, Clark was leading them in assists, improving both rookies and seasoned veterans. Being a leader? Since high school gym classes, she has been conducting an on-court workshop. However, when egos are damaged, seniority politics frequently take precedence over skill. Despite everything, Clark maintained his composure. She maintained her composure, respect, and unwavering focus on her squad during every interview and press conference. Reeve persisted in digging, portraying Clark's ascent as a disturbance rather than a gift to the league, even if she managed to keep her game above the noise. One side was smiling, while the other was side-eyeing, creating a dramatic contrast. Here's the media cycle in a nutshell. Is Clark having a rare night off? Talk of rookie growing pains or hype catching up fills the headlines. Does Clark recover with a game that has 30 points and 15 assists? Silence. Crickets. In certain circles, the tale was already written. Clark was expected to struggle, be humbled, and discover her role. She found out, spoiler alert, she has finished apologizing for it, and it's at the top of the food chain. There was more to changing coaches than just tactical matchups. Demanding respect, taking back the narrative, and refusing to play under someone who didn't believe in her were the main goals. Clark required a coach who would highlight her abilities rather than diminish them. Brondello's stance is straightforward. You don't cage a player who can score 30 points and dish out 15 assists. You release them. She has developed challenges by unleashing offensive potential rather than suppressing it, as evidenced by her past. There is a huge difference. Brondello is prepared to base the game on Clark's skill set, even though Reeve taught that she needed to adjust her game. This is about a generational change, not only basketball anymore. Clark is leading the way as the WNBA changes. She is demonstrating that leadership, talent, and vision are not age-related. She's playing to change the league's regulations, not just to win games, thanks to a coach who believes in her. The silent flex heard around the league. Sandy Brondello is planning strategies to get Caitlin Clark 40 shots a night if it means winning, and she isn't just thinking about the next game. That is a sign of a coach who sees opportunities rather than problems. Cheryl Reeve, on the other hand, is mired in a way of thinking that seems to belong in an old scrapbook. While one sees a wild card, the other sees a weapon. And this power struggle starts precisely with that disparity. Clark is 22. Reeve has existed since the beginning of the WNBA. That's not just a generational gap. It's a culture clash. Rookies were expected to shut up and earn it during Reeve's time, working hard for respect and minutes. She entered via the front entrance as the attraction, and Clark completely avoided the waiting area. Years of cautious development and slowly growing rosters? The moment she began selling out arenas and draining threes, it was out the window. In 2005, the WNBA? Slow-burning careers, quiet humility, and hard effort. In 2025, the WNBA? Social media domination, star power, and fast highlights. Come back in 5 years is not what fans want. They want it immediately. Clark understands. She makes basketball a must-watch TV show, is marketable in every city, and has a captivating internet persona. That is a more valuable currency than any coaching theory from the past. Everyone, including Reeve, benefits financially from every sold-out game, every jersey that is thrown off the racks, and every new fan who learns about women's basketball. However, Clark has been received with slow down and know your place instead of gratitude. The irony: the lights stay on because of her accomplishment. She receives pushback rather than appreciation, which is precisely why she made the decision to change the narrative. Clark caused a stir rather than merely replacing a coach. She demonstrated to the league that she would not be used as a prop in anyone's power struggles by trading Reeve. She demonstrated that rookies may exert influence in ways that make seasoned players perspire. The message was apparent to all players who were watching. The hierarchy is changing. She could have used covert means to accomplish it. Rather, draft of all stars. Live TV. Millions of people are watching. Social media is loaded and locked. She made a moment rather than merely a decision. One that transformed a coaching change into a topic of conversation that spread well beyond basketball circles. Reeve nursing her wounds, opinions flying, drama roiling, and Clark. Records are still being broken, still winning games. She continues to improve her teammates. She maintained her professionalism while getting her retribution. That's a masterpiece in multitasking under duress, not just a victory. This is business, not just sports. Clark is protecting her name like a CEO of a Fortune 500 company because she knows it is worth millions. Reeve's removal served as brand protection in addition to being personal. She is stating, "I will not allow my image to be associated with negativity or undermining for a period." Coaches and front offices were in charge for decades. The players remained in line. That period, lost. Stars of today have the power to influence whole franchises because of their influence, voices, and fan bases. The old guard is shaken after Clark just happened to give the largest, most audacious demonstration of it to date. She got what she wanted without scandal or conflicts in the locker room. She made use of the trade rights granted to all-star leaders by the league. Expectations were breached, but no rules were broken. What about the pain for Reeve? You never get over a firing like this. This was more than just a roster change in the end. It was a proclamation. Instead of whispering her thoughts in a back-office meeting, Caitlin Clark raised her flag in the center of the league's largest stage and challenged anyone to do so. It was audacious, it was dangerous, and it was successful. Clark broke the unwritten rule that rookies don't upset the crowd by firing Coach Reeve in front of millions of people. She demonstrated that the WNBA's greatest players create the biggest shadows, and those shadows extend to the coaching bench. With the old guard clinging to tradition and the new guard updating the handbook in real time, this was more than just a personality clash. It was a collision of eras. Even so, Clark continued to do what made her unstoppable in the first place: win games, motivate fans, and make the WNBA a must-watch show. Despite all the commotion, the problem with genuine stars is that they become the storm, rather than merely surviving it. The pandemonium is just getting worse after Caitlin Clark changed the rules in front of millions of people. Was this an overreach or a power move? Should more gamers assume this kind of control? Let us know in the comments below. and be sure to subscribe for the most recent updates on this developing story.